Hi, Mark here again from Draken Games. The last couple of videos have been about the mini games that go to make up my Mini Games Compendium, which is available for download as a PDF for $1. I'm going to talk about the third and final game now, which is Scramble. Probably my favourite game of the three, actually. Just like Night of the Stuff, this is designed to be played solo. There are some options where you can kind of have a competitive element with other players, but really it's designed to be a solo game. This game's based on a game I had as a kid called Battle of Britain. There are a couple of Battle of Britain games around, but this particular one, I don't know who made it, but all the planes were on little plastic sticks, and you move them up and down the sticks according to altitude. So you had altitude and direction and there, it was okay. It was a bit fiddly, and sometimes it went on a bit long, and eventually, of course, the little plastic planes on the plastic sticks got snapped. But whilst it worked, it was all right, and I've always remembered that game. And there were some good elements of it, which I've tried to capture in this solo game, and I hope I've succeeded, because I'm quite pleased with this game, actually. So, there's the board. Most of the board, anyway. I can't fit it all in, so I'll try and pan up. You can see there are sort of some blocky arrows around the edge of the board. They're the starting positions of the bombers. I'll explain how the bombers come into play later. But there's 6 of those, so you can choose the next one with a D6 basically. 6 of those around the island. Again, these are cheap and cheerful games. I've not gone to town on the production values. As you can see, the island is just a green blob. That's the island. And there are a number of targets on the island. Where you can see there's the rest of the arrows from which the bomber attacks start. So a number of targets on the island. The brown targets are, I guess, population centre targets. So there's a port, a city, and a capital city. The green targets are military. You've got HQ, you've got the fleet base there, and you've got some barracks. And then you've got some grey infrastructure targets. You've got a power station, communications, and up off the top there you've got an oil refinery. And you've got 3 airfields, A, B and C. They are meant to be diagrams of airfields, and that's where the 3 fighters start from. Pretty straightforward. Only 1 page of rules, so really easy to get into this game. 1 page of rules, and then there's the board and some counters to print off and stick on the cardboard. What happens is, at the start of each turn, you roll a dice and you stick a bomber counter on whichever one of these arrows comes up. So if it was number 6, you'd stick it there. And the direction of the arrow indicates the way the bomber's going to fly. It's going to fly from this direction. When a bomber reaches this little cluster here, this is a decision point, and you can see there are 3 numbers, or 3 pairs of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You roll a dice, just a single 6-sided die, and according to the number that comes up, that's the direction the bomber then goes. So if it got to there, and you rolled 1 or 2, it would then change direction and go that way. If you roll 3 or 4, it would carry straight on. If you roll 5 or 6, it then flies back out to sea. So those are the ways of giving some variety to this. It's not just 6 bombers, up to 6 bombers coming in along these same tracks. They can change direction, and there's quite a bit of variety offered by that. Really simple system to control the bombers, which helps with quick gameplay. What the fighters have to do is manoeuvre behind the bombers. You don't have to shoot to hit. Basically, if you end up lined up with the bomber, going the same direction as the bomber, in the hex behind it, you've shot it down. At the end of that turn, that bomber is shot down. Gradually, as the bombers fly over a target, they automatically bomb it, so they destroy it. And they use some explosion counters which you can use to show as this island gradually gets bombed to bits. And basically the planes shoot down as many as they can before an endpoint is reached out. You can have a variety of endpoints. It can be when a certain number of targets are bombed, or when all the targets of one particular category are bombed. I've worked through a number of examples, and these give you some ideas for how long a game could expect to last. There's some games you might want to play until every single target's been destroyed. That would be quite a long game. You might get bored. So other games might be when 6 targets are destroyed. The idea is that the fighter planes shoot down as many targets as they can, as many bombers as they can in that period. And there's then a scale to decide if that was a successful defence or not. That's it. Really straightforward. Have a look at the counters. So there are two different sets of counters. There you've got a Spitfire type plane. That's one. And fighting against that, bombing the island, would be Heinkel type planes. So that'd be obviously a World War World War II influence. And so, just to reiterate that, if the plane, let's say the bombers are there, if the fighter ends up behind the bomber like that, lined up with it, end of that turn, that bomber is automatically shot down. That would be a kill, and will be credited to the fighter as a kill. You don't have to have World War II. I've got some jet age counters as well. So we've got a plane based on the Typhoon, the RAF Typhoon, or the Eurofighter if you want to call it that. And we've also, and in that case, that will fight against, obviously, a jet bomber, which is based loosely on the B-52. I was going to have like a biplane or a Zeppelin, but I didn't run out of space. Feel free to mix and match. You know, why not have Spitfires trying to shoot down B-52s? No reason not. Couldn't happen in real life, but what the heck? It's a game. But yeah, you've got two options there. You can have a jet age counters, or you can have World War II type counters. Where you can make this a game for more than one player is if you have a player looking after each plane. There's three planes, A, B and C. You can see that Spitfire is labelled A and that Eurofighter is labelled C. So they start on those given airfields, A, B or C. And to make it competitive, you could have three players, each controlling one plane, and whoever shoots down the most wins, basically. That's it. It's a cheap and cheerful game like all these games are. Links at the bottom in the comments will show you how to get this. It was free for a while in the relevant catalogue. Now that catalogue's been withdrawn, this game is available as part of this bundle of 3 mini games for just $1 download. This was my particular favourite. I actually can play this quite often, which is a little bit sad. I'm really into aviation in general and the RAF in particular, so maybe that explains it. But I do think you'll find this an enjoyable game. It's something that if you're there, we've all been there, we really want something to pass the time, there's no one around to play a game with, this is quite a nice solo game, and I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, thanks for listening. Feel free to comment or like or subscribe or whatever, and speak to you soon. Thanks, bye.